Hey guys, Crab Miniatures back at it with another video, and today I'm going to be unboxing the Baccus 6mm Napoleonic battle matched pair set between the French army and the Prussians. So let's just get right into it. So as you can see, I popped the lid, took a look at it the other day, but I haven't taken that good of a peek at just all the different parts that are inside. So first, we've got here the bases. These are 30 by 20, I believe, or sorry, 60 by 30. Yeah, pretty good MDF. I don't believe I'll be using these. I want to base my units on smaller bases. It'll be 20 by 20 squares. That way I can form my units into smaller groups to represent battalions. Then here we've got some buildings, it looks like. So some little buildings and a giant square to make your own little village piece. Very tiny. There's a reason they call it their teeny tiny terrain. And then also we have this here. A couple different little standalone buildings. I think I prefer this to the other set. I mean, you can just kind of place these around your battlefield, paint them up real quick. Of course, these are not in scale with the actual 6mm. Then we can get into the actual bulk of it. First, I'll just take out these. We've got a French flag sheet. Nothing special, just what you need to get your guys onto the board. I do see there's a little bit of dots of some ink here, so I'll probably have to avoid those flags. But otherwise, looks pretty good. Then we have the Prussian flag set. Lots of variety. Looks pretty great. Can't really complain. Into the box, we have a French uniform guide from Polemos. So it's got Fusilier, Drummer, Grenadier, Voltigeur, and then some cavalry. We've got Dragoon, Chasseurs, Hussars, and some foot artillery. So that's pretty cool. Nice little French set. This one does not come with a Prussian painting guide. I believe the matched pairs that have the British do come with a British painting guide as well, but this does not come with a Prussian one. So getting into it, first we can take a look at the Prussians. This is 1806 to 1815. Alright, so I just took that stuff out of the package here. This is the Prussians. So first you can see we've got our bag of infantry, just some Prussian line infantry. I'll take one out of the bag here. So this set comes with 12 units of Prussian line infantry. Let's see if I can. There we go. Yep. So just some standard line infantry, everything you would need. I did notice, like, as you can see, these guys have their bayonets are very, like they're holding their guns, their muskets, lower than the French are at least, and my Austrians as well from Baccus that I've purchased in the past. So their bayonets don't really stick up over their heads that much as compared to the other figures. It might look a little bit funny. I'm not sure how I feel about it. I guess we'll see once I have it all based and all that kind of stuff. Next, we've got 2 bags of cavalry here. I believe it comes with, it says it on the website, but it's some, I believe, dragoons, cuirassiers, hussars, lancers, and then reserve cavalry. Looks like, I hate to mislabel these guys. These guys appear to be cuirassiers, if I had to guess. Possibly dragoons. They've got their little helmets with the plumes. Next, we've got these guys, maybe some, probably the lancers. I believe the reserve cavalry for the Prussians carried lances. I really like these guys. I was very happy with how these turned out. I love their little flags on their lances. I do notice you can see the lances did have some trouble on these guys. I'm not too upset, you know, there's not much you can do with such a thin piece, but you can see that did snap there. It came like this, and then it also is missing some on this guy as well. So the middle guy is fine. The other two guys, their lances are a little scuffed. This is the only problem I noticed on my preliminary look at all these models. Yeah. So overall, pretty good. That's my only gripe I've noticed so far. We've got this is probably cuirassier command stand, I assume. I like the little flag on that too. Put these guys back. And then in here we've just got some more cavalry. I'll pop a few out of the bag here. We'll see if we can find something. I don't know if they're separated by like types. Is like one bag has one type, and these appear to be some hussars with their swords. I think this is probably the command. Yeah, this is the command stand for the hussars. We've got our captain up front, bugler. It's really hard to see on camera here when they're all unpainted. Yeah, sorry. Middle guy has a bugle there. But yeah, they look pretty good. Pretty happy with these. The bags, the individual bags here are not labeled. So they come in a bag that says Prussians and a bag that says French. But these bags are not labeled. So you will have to... the infantry is, of course, self-explanatory. But for the cavalry, you're going to have to reference back to the Baccus website to make sure that you're basing these guys correctly, or, you know, with the same units. You know which unit is which. At 6mm scale, it is just going to be difficult to tell which guys are from which unit if they have like the same helmet and the same weapons. So finally, we have the this bag here, which has the Prussian generals and then 4 pieces of artillery. So for the generals, I wasn't sure actually. It might say it on the website. I totally did not know how many generals it was going to come with, though. But it looks like it comes with 3 little molds here of these 3 generals. So 9 generals total. With these guys are in bicorns here. But for my generals, I'm planning on just mixing the French and Prussian generals and maybe like a little bit of like extra hussars or something that I have. That way each command stand is a little bit different, because at this scale, especially with generals where they all had their own unique, like tailored uniforms, it's really not a problem to just mix from different countries. So here we've got some Prussian artillery. Standard little artillery piece. Looks nice. And then here we have the Prussian artillery crew. This guy's piece here is a little snapped. I don't know exactly what this is. I believe this is to clean the barrel here, or ram. This might be a ramrod. I don't know if in the Napoleonic period, I don't know if they had. I don't know exactly what this is, to be honest. This is the, forget the name, but this is to clean the barrel here. This guy's carrying an extra cannonball, and then we've got this guy kind of supervising. So yeah, that's all of the Prussians that come in the set. And now we will take a look at the opposing French forces. Okay, so here we have the French force. This is French 1806 to 1812. These guys, I mean, it depends on how nitpicky you are. I would say, you know, for the most part, as long as the hats match up, it really doesn't matter what like year it is. At this scale, you know, it's like, oh, are they wearing shakos? Okay, then they're fine. Of course, it'd be, I mean, I'm fine with using it for like bicorn era if I need to, just because it seems silly to have something like the hat they're wearing limit me from what battles I'll refight, such as the earlier parts, the French Revolutionary part of the wars against Austria, especially in Italy. But I have no problem with bicorns for later time periods. I just prefer shako because it gives me more flexibility in when I do it. So first, French line infantry in shako. Looks great. High quality. That's what you expect from Baccus. Little backpacks molded on there, and they're rolled up greatcoats. So same as the Prussians. You just get 12 units of the French line infantry, just standard. Next, we'll get into the French. Also have two little baggies here of cavalry. For the French, I forgot to double check. I believe it's cuirassiers, dragoons, hussars, and chasseurs, and I believe it's just 4 types for the French, which is still a lot, of course. Here we've got probably dragoons, possibly cuirassiers. I have trouble telling them apart since the helmets are kind of the same. Again, I like the molded on flag. I'll need to figure out how they painted, or how those flags were back in the period. These guys are probably cuirassiers. They have their swords. But I do know that the French dragoons during the Napoleonic period didn't really... I don't believe they used their... they didn't act much as mounted infantry, I believe. That was more of the job of the chasseurs for the French. Let's see. Looks pretty good. Hussars, I think. Yeah, should be with their little coats all over their shoulders. These guys are looking good. Let's see, maybe in the next bag it'll be chasseurs, I believe. Yes, this would be the chasseurs. You can see their little guns there, strapped to the side, and then they have smaller sabers. Very light horses. They look a bit smaller. Same scale, but just, you know, they're a little bit tinier than the, you know, French heavy cavalry. Looks like pretty similar. I'm gonna assume these are the dragoons. I believe. Yeah, it looks... I see a little gun on this guy here. On the other side, yeah, more guns, I think. So this would be the Dragoons, and the others would be the Cuirassiers, I believe. I'm going to have to double check before I paint them, because that would be unfortunate, even though I'd probably never be able to tell. Then finally, we'll get into the French officers and artillery. So, same kind of shebang as the Prussians. You get 3 strips of French officers. This guy... This guy is missing his arm, I think. Unless they gave me... They gave me 2 different sets of officers. This might be a mistake. Or, I don't know. It's fine by me either way. Maybe the Prussians were like this. I believe they were all 3 the same. But here's the first mold. There's 2 of this mold. This is not the one I saw online, but maybe it's like... Maybe I am just mistaken. There's 2 different molds. One's like a higher level commander, and these are lower level. These guys are... He's got his saber drawn here. This model looks beautiful. This is a dynamic pose. Looking good. Just bend these guys back into place. We've got this guy with a shako with a plume. And these guys have bicorns, along with these guys also have bicorns. This front guy, maybe that would be I believe it's still called a bicorn, but a bicorn facing forward, more that Wellington is famous for. And then for artillery, just a standard gun. I believe this is the 10-pounder, maybe it's the 6 actually. And then French artillery crew. I believe this is the exact same as some of the other French artillery crew. I think they just reuse them. I have a little bit of Baccus that I bought a long time ago as like a test to see if I like the range and the scale. And I did, clearly, and I've finally gotten around to... I was gifted this set to expand my Baccus now that I know I like them. I believe it's the same crew. But of course, that's another thing you can just check online. And now I will pack up the rest of these French here, and we will get into the final thing of the box, which is the Polemos Napoleonic rule set that kind of comes with the matched pair. Alright, so picking you guys back up, we've got the Polemos Napoleonic Maréchal d'Empire, or Empire. I don't speak French, sorry. It looks like it retailed for £20. And then on the other side, it is General de Division by Chris Grace. I guess Chris Grice, they're both made by him. Yeah. So they kind of, it just kind of goes through. You can see it's got, looks to be just a simple or relatively simple Napoleonic rule set. I am not going to be using this system. And also an army generator, which I've heard lots of good things about online, in which, you know, you roll off and it'll tell you what units go a part of the enemy formation to, like, essentially automate enemy army compositions. It's got some okay illustration, not the highest quality, but it's fine. I won't be using this, but it's cool to see. It's nice to give me some ideas since I do write my own rule sets. And and then eventually it flips upside down, so you open it from the other side. So halfway through, it switches sides. But yeah, so that was the whole box set. So it came with this rule set, the French painting guide, the teeny tiny terrain, 2 different sets of that kind of stuff, the entire French and Prussian army sets, as well as flag sheets and bases. So everything looks good, wonderful as always from Baccus. I don't have any complaints really at all, besides those little flag poles and lances that were snapped in the middle. But that's all good. I'm not going to use all of the cavalry that I've received in the box, probably, because I do feel if I had one gripe besides that, would be that they kind of do include too much cavalry, in my opinion. I like to have fewer cavalry bases. I know that each cavalry base represents a fewer number of men, but I don't like to have as many cavalry bases as infantry bases. I like to have it as kind of a, 2/3 of your bulk of your army should be infantry, and the other will be the cavalry, and then you'll have, your backup generals and your artillery pieces and your skirmishing infantry if you like that. But yeah, overall, great set. Thank you guys for watching. Please leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.